So question number 22 is another triangle congruence question. I'm going to quickly look at triangle ABC and the triangle on the right, ACD, separately. Maybe it will help me a little bit in visualizing what is going on. So we've got A, C, B, and D. These are the two triangles sort of separated out. These are both right angles, and these are congruent angles over here. Okay, so we know that these two sides are congruent as well because it's reflexivity. We can put a little X over it, and I think you'll see that gives us angle, side, angle, angle, side, angle. And so we've got an included side here. Okay, so this would be our included side for angle, side, angle. And that's about it. We use the theorem that all right angles are congruent to get this angle, and this angle was given to us, and this side we got through reflexivity. So we're going to say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ADC. Okay, again, the two angles C correspond to each other because they're both right angles. The two angles A because they are congruent, etc. Okay, and the reason here is angle, side, angle. Moving over to 23, we have another very similar problem to what we'd had earlier. We're given that AF and BC are parallel. This time we're not told that AB and CF are parallel, so we have to be careful. We can only use theorems that have to do with AF and BC being parallel. So let's kind of extend these two. So we can picture them as parallel lines crossed by a transversal. And I think if you think of them that way, then we can see that angles 1 and 4 are congruent because of alternate interior angles. But 2 and 3 are not congruent. Okay, this is really important to notice that there is another pair of alternate interior angles here, but it's this entire angle here, and this entire angle there. Okay, and that's not angles 2 and angles 3. Okay, so we cannot say anything more than 1 is congruent to 4 because of alternate interior angles. We also know that AF is congruent to BC. Do we have enough information to conclude that triangle ABC is congruent to, well, ABC is this triangle here, ABC, so I guess we're probably talking about AFC. That's the other triangle. Can we conclude that those two are congruent? Well, let's go ahead. Before we decide, let's draw these as separate triangles. Let's separate them out a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to kind of, in my mind, separate these into two triangles like that. And I will label them A, B, C. Again, this one is A, C, and F. Okay, so I'm kind of, in my mind, going to look at them as two separate triangles, and I know that this angle, just by referring back to the diagram, is congruent to this angle, and I know that this side is congruent to this side. Do I have any other congruence here that could be helpful? Well, once again, I hope you realize that AC is congruent to itself. AC is congruent to AC. So this triangle has AC. I'll make a double mark there. And this triangle has AC as well. I'll make a double mark there. At this point, I hope you recognize that angle A is an included angle. Okay, in this triangle, and angle C is an included angle in this triangle because we've got the two congruent sides that are both sides of angle A. And in this triangle, the two congruent sides are also sides of angle C. Another way to say it is that A is included between these two sides and C is included between these two sides. So we have a congruence criteria that is fulfilled, and that is side, angle, side. Remember, in side, angle, side, again, it's the angle that is included. Okay, so we can say that these triangles are congruent. Let's be careful about how we word it. So we've got side angle side as our reason. And if we were going to make the markings on this diagram, we would probably put a little X over that, so we would know that side is equal to itself. But let's figure out what corresponds to A in the first triangle, which is here, ABC. We're talking about ABC first. What corresponds to A? Well, A is opposite the side with one mark. So let's go to the side with one mark on the second triangle, and opposite is angle C. So we have to put point C first. Then B. Well, what corresponds to B? In the first triangle ABC, B is opposite the shared side, and so is F. So we've got F, and the remaining point is A. So we have triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CFA, and by doing that, we are keeping our angles correspondingly equal.